What up, everybody? It's your boy Neo, and I'm back with another segment. This is just a conversation I was having with somebody, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Someone came to me with a situation, and they wanted my advice on it. And immediately I told them, they just in their feelings. Calm down, breathe, all that other good stuff. Remind them a little bit of thoughts become things. And like, great, cool, 'cause you know, I really, thought I could come lean on you and get this advice on this situation. That was my advice. That is the best advice I can give you. I'm gonna go into further detail, but that is number one. You need to do that right now. Don't stop thinking. Do that. You got to get control of the situation because right now you're not. Not if you're emotional. And so, the conversation went on, and I got to a part. I'm trying to read it as I go. The person got a little bit insulted because I told them you're not in control of your emotions at this point. It's like I said, you got to get this under wraps. You right now snapping, or you right now mad, upset, whatever the situation is, confused, whatever the situation is, you're not in control of your emotions, which means you're definitely not in control of the situation. And they're like, oh, I know what I want. I know this, that, and I laid everything out, and this is a perfectly laid out plan. And that shit sounds all good in theory. But the fact of the matter is, emotionally, you're not there. Just because you got a plan doesn't mean you have shit in check. It doesn't mean you have things under wraps and you're good. Just because you got a plan. You need to have it emotionally checked because your emotions is where your mind's gonna go, and that's when stuff is going to happen. So that's what I said back. I said knowing, what you want, or having a plan isn't being in control of your emotions. Okay? Now, men and women seem to be more ran by their emotion than guys do as far as the outcome. What goes on in whoever's mind is what it is, but as far as the outcomes, we see that women are naturally more emotional creatures. I think that stems from giving birth and having an actual attachment to someone that was born in you and grew inside of you. I just think women are just more nurturing and more emotional creatures, and that is a weapon against you in the fight to have control over what's happening right now. What's happening right now while you're in a room in any given second, you're standing there, you could be throwing a dart. Right as that dart is releasing from your hand, what's happening in that room is all in your mind what's happening. That's what's the most important thing. It's not the dart. It's not it releasing. It's not the outcome. It's that moment. In another moment, that dart will be on the board and that will have its own outcome. But in this moment, it is releasing from my hand. And the only real thing that matters is what's going on in my mind. And you got to get a hold of that. You got to get a hold of that. I posted something on Facebook where I said, you got to get a hold of you. You've never really had control over you before. So you got to get a hold of you. And, I know that sparks controversy because everyone thinks they have a hold of themselves. But the conversation went on about how they have control over their emotions. They've been able to, how do you say, suppress them. I'm gonna say suppress because I wanted to hit you from the door that it wasn't a good thing to suppress emotions. It's not a good thing to suppress emotions. Now there are situations where it would be easier to get through if you were to just be callous about it. And hey, listen, to each his own. I'm not saying it's wrong for anyone doing it. But what I find people doing is they say, "Oh, well, it's wrong. I'm a victim of this circumstance." And at the end of the day, it's so it shouldn't be like this. Just because of your circumstance doesn't change the rules. Thoughts become things which you focus on the most, and life will grow. What have you been focusing on? Okay, choose. It is your choice to stay in a thought. If your mind is currently programmed to think one way, okay, you get the thought you get the thoughts thrown at you throughout the day that you're used to. That's your programming. If your mind is used to thinking one way, cool. You could take that. You could change that. It takes time. It takes meditation. It takes all these mental practices. I got you. It takes time to change that. But right now, in this given moment, it doesn't take time to change that. It takes you grabbing the rings. You are the watchman at the gate, and the gate is open and you're just letting all these random thoughts pass, it doesn't take nothing for you to close the gate. It doesn't take any effort physically for you to close the gate. Mentally, you just gotta wake up. You just gotta wake the hell up. And if you get a chance, I was gonna say, if you gotta wake up 60,000 times a day, then you gotta wake up 60,000 times. But guess what? You're not gonna do that. But if you get a chance to, you'll be the luckiest person on earth. You gotta stay present. A person who's a big advocate on that is LeBron James. He always says how he's more of a present thinker and all this other stuff. So getting back to this, I mentioned to them that shutting down their emotions doesn't mean you have control. At the end of the day, you suppress them. They're going to boil over. They're going to explode. And at the end of the day, it was a bad decision. You make bad decisions about things you're not in control in. You're not in control of. You don't know the outcome. If you knew the outcome, you would adjust and make it a good outcome. So the fact that it's a bad situation means you already lost control. You don't have it. And it's hard. And it's funny because it took all this time to even just get that part through. I had to do all this deep explaining to where someone thought I offended them, and they came to me for assistance. They've tried all these different avenues. They've even tried therapy, and it just didn't work. So they said, "Yo, I'm coming to the non-licensed therapist, the realist. I'm going to Neo, who can spin anything and find any silver lining and make me understand. There's no loopholes. Everything just adds up perfectly." Let me get back to this. The bad decision. Here's the thing. You cannot grow as a person if you don't make room for growth. For me to tell you you're not in control of your emotions, and for you to say I am in control of my emotions, that means you are in control. There is no room for growth. There is nothing more than control. You either have it or you don't, and every level in between. There's no room for growth. As a person, you have succeeded in that, and it can't get any better. That can't be it. Us as people, we want to strive to do better. We want to achieve better. We want to outdo our old selves in certain areas, and it makes us feel better. Okay? There's no room for improvement if you think there's no room for improvement. Thinking you have control isn't going to gain you more control. In the essence of thoughts become things, saying it over and over again, saying I have in control, I am in control. You will trick your mind into thinking and believing that and manifest that type of control. I get you as far as that goes. But saying I don't need any more practice because I already have that, no. And the only way for you to create space, the only way is to admit that it could be better. And then once you do that, you open a little void for it. A void, and your body naturally fills voids. And then you end up doing better, and you keep doing better. But I had to get through all that to just get to that point itself. And this is the average thought process. This is what goes on. What did I say? You can only grow if you admit there's room for growth. None of us really have control, because I swear people swear they have control over everything. And admitting that will allow you to gain more control over everything. I mentioned you're defensive right now because you're not in control. If you were in control, you would stop and breathe and think, maybe he's trying to help me. This is kind of what the fuck he does. Sorry for the language. And this is kind of why I called his ass. Sorry for the language. Why don't I just shut the fuck up and let him do what he does? And it's like, if you were in control, you would have maybe stopped and listened and saw where I was going with it. And now that you have, can we proceed accordingly? Okay, something has to change in your life in order for things to change. Something has to change in order for things to change. Yeah, I'm sorry, I typoed that. I just realized that. But yeah, that's big. That's big. Everyone thinks if they keep doing what they're doing, it's going to affect change. No, that doesn't make sense. Change affects change. If your goal is to gain $100,000 this year in your company, and you gain $100,000 this year in your company, are you going to do the same thing next year? Or do you want 101,000? In order to get 101,000, you are going to have to change something, even if it's something small. If you want big change, you have to change a lot. You did good, but there's still room for change. A lot of people, everybody's pretty much like basically on their own self. Because I guess it's people, we just get defensive and we don't want to admit that we could be better. You don't want anybody around you to tell you certain things, especially you're coming from a minority or someone younger than you or someone from a culture that you don't like or see in an under order. You know what I mean? Um, and they were telling me how they've been, cool, and it's like, yo, it's screaming out of your pores. You haven't been cool. Your suppression, it ain't been working. It's been working in your mind, I guess, but it's screaming from your pores right now. You know what I mean? And so we went on to all right, well then I'm just gonna go back to blocking my emotions because you obviously the emotions are the problem. No, we just established that that could be the reason for this particular meltdown. It's definitely contributing. There's other outside factors. Of course, I don't know everything that's going on in your life, and you're obviously not sharing it, because everybody be holding them little things back. But that type of suppression is not good. It's not good at all. You have to find your way to live your life without that. Uh, and that's what I said. I know it's hard and shit sucks sometimes, but the rules don't change. You get what you focus on the most. Choose wisely. Stress seems addictive the way it haunts us. Gain control by waking up from the negative ass scenarios that you run all day. Every single one of them, one at a time. Shutting things off doesn't fix anything. It's just suppression, and which is worse sometimes because it could also lead to an explosion. This was a big one. This is the reason why I actually hit record today. I said, why don't you stop trying to dictate life and let it happen? Every time you dictate, you're wrong anyway. Why don't you stop trying to dictate and let it happen? Um, yeah, stop doing it. I know it's easier said than done, but believe me, it is possible. But you first have to gain control. Not over your life, that takes time, but you can only do it one moment at a time. Gain control over the moment. Dropping a whole bunch of drops into a bucket. Once you get a bucket, it's a beautiful bucket. But guess what? A bucket is just a bunch of drops of water. You're not putting anything into the bucket. And I have to use a gym analogy for this so people don't think it's easy, because if they're not millionaires or they're not 100% happy by tomorrow afternoon, they say, oh, Neo, it didn't work. If you were to go into the gym and do 20 curls, would you really expect to look like you wish to look? No. So 20 times doing 10 affirmations twice a day, which is 20, that ain't working. It's doing something. Trust me, it's doing something. Little grains of sand, little drops into a bucket. It's doing something. It is. But I encourage you to go hard. That's just me. Go hard. Put all your attention into it. All your focus in it. Play make believe all. You're playing make believe all day anyway. 60,000 thoughts a day on average per person. You're playing make believe all day anyway. You're just running scenarios that might be based off of the things around you, as opposed to based off of the things inside you. And of course, that's what I want you to do, based off of things inside you. And since you are one with God, which means no separation, since you are the essence of God manifested into the physical world, what you have inside you is unlimited. And the people who have tapped into that source and realized that, well, we hear about them all the time. Just turn on your TV, go to TMZ. um, but yeah, sometimes if you're an emotional creature, both women and female obviously can be emotional creatures. You guys know how I feel about it. I think women are more emotionally driven as far as the outcome. We can both get the emotional side and the rational side tapping on each of our shoulders, like the little devil and the angel on our shoulders. You got the emotional and the rational, and what's the outcome? Which one wins? And I think everyone knows the over under on that. So in certain times, I'm gonna say don't trust your emotions. Now I don't mean your gut. And gut comes accompanied with emotion because you feel some type of way when you have that gut feeling. Gut feeling is different than sitting there letting your emotions run wild for hours out of the day, watering some negative ass seeds, manifesting some negative ass shit to happen to you tomorrow. Really? Really? Do I have to lay that out? Do I really have to explain that like that? Yes, it's a shame. I do. I have to explain it like that to myself every freaking day. I gotta remind myself. I got a wristband on my wrist. It's been here for months. I used it the other day for the first time in so long. I felt ashamed of myself. It said the word it said stay focused. And I was in the moment. I was at an event and I woke up to the moment and I was going to tell everyone there, yo, I just remembered to wake up and bring God in when I'm having fun or whatever I'm doing, and I put my 100 attention to everything I do. So it's hard for me to especially hard for me to bring in God, stop, take in the moment, bringing God and all that other stuff. But I did it. I was proud of myself. It was a little shame I didn't do it more often, but this was the time to make change. This was time to do it more often, and I'm doing it right now. Hello, God. You come and watch me do it. Oh, you was watching the whole time. I just realized you was watching. It makes sense. Sorry. I didn't look. I just went and had a whole conversation. But that's what it is, man. That's my relationship with God. I wish I remember to bring him in more often. Look, he's back. See, I looked at the computer. I started to focus on what was going on the screen. At that point, I was no longer in the conversation or acknowledging the watcher. But then I looked back into the light in the corner because that's for some reason it seems like where the energy is coming from, and I smile and I look at it, and right behind it is my board of things that remind me I'm doing this thing where I made a pattern. I put words out before, bunch of like basically picture like 10 phrases, and they're cool to say, but I put them in pictures and it means so much more. I do them more often. I guess it's because it's less reading, picture association, a psychological thing, but it's great. I tried to draw a picture of a snap. How do you draw a picture of of that? It's crazy. Um, but yeah, this is something I'm working on that I want to give you guys. I think on December 26th, and follow up from the whole movie thing because the movie thing was a part of this. So I know you guys been waiting for that, but I think I'm about to go Christmas shopping. My brother is in town. He is at SantaCon, and I went with them last year. It was crazy, but the crowd was just too young, and yeah. So I'm just gonna chill back tonight and just chill. Look, people are arriving. I got family in town. The house is back to being packed again. I love it. I love you guys. Everything is great. I feel great. I feel like $1,000,000, and I hope I feel like this well, for at least for the rest of the night. It's so hard if somebody walks in the house and says something, and you're like, ah, I gotta drive here, or I gotta get like I gotta get in the shower now, and I don't want to. I'm just chilling back, and let the night take you, let life take you. Stop trying to play God. People kill me. They come around with all these questions and all these answers, and it's like you don't know what the hell's gonna happen. Why are you wasting your time? Why don't you just live it out? Stay in the moment. You know, it's hard. It's hard to get people to do that. It's hard as hell to do it. It's even harder to get people to do it. But that's why I'm here. So I love you guys. I'm gonna catch you on the next one. It's your boy Neo. Yeah, this has been another one. Don't dictate people. It doesn't work. You be right a little bit, but you're never fully right. So why? Let it happen. Be God. Be one with God by stopping and living in the moment. When you think about the future, the past, good or bad, you're manifesting. Stop. Be present. Let God's plan unfold. There's no other way to be one with God. I love it. Bring the watcher in. Mwah, blow him a kiss, smile, and say thank you. I'm still breathing. That's enough. Let's go from there. I'll let your boy. Thank you, Father. Ooh, use Father. Please use Father. It does something to the soul. I love you guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.